Hello and welcome to GC360. I'm Taylor Weldon.
And I'm Justin Peacock. Today on GC360, the city of Milledgeville is fighting to come back to prosperity. Ahead, we'll hear the mayor's plan for economic revival.
Plus, we're recapping the event that had Georgia College students walk to fight against multiple sclerosis.
And while some students were walking the streets, others strutted the stage at the annual GC Drag Show. We are spotlighting these unique talents for you ahead on GC360. The city of Milledgeville is working hard to make some positive improvements to the community. Some changes are being made to reinvent some of the work culture and figure out ways to make this place that we know and love a better job atmosphere for everyone in the area. But will changing the work culture really help freshen the local economy? Emil Ellerud has that story.
Milledgeville has been many things, from the capital of Georgia to the place where parents threatened to send their kids if they didn't behave. The site of the nation's largest mental hospital, Central State.
When the capital was moved to Atlanta in 1868, the great question for Milledgeville is, what do we do now? How do we survive? And what they turned to almost immediately, within 10 years, was the attraction of the town to colleges.
For many years, downtown buildings stood empty, but the mid-90s brought change. The Brick was one of the early bars that opened during this time. Downtown evolved when others saw these bars were successful.
That's just changed the whole culture. It's become like a little version of Athens, for better or worse, with all the problems that comes with that, but also all the excitement that comes with that too.
The college identity grows stronger as Central State continues to close down. But thousands of jobs have been lost, and small downtown businesses will not save Milledgeville. Mayor Richard Bentley wants to attract big businesses. He has an argument for interested companies that Milledgeville has a qualified workforce, graduating students.
But I don't think that you can find another community of 20,000 people in the city, 46 or 7 in the county, that have 3 higher learning institutions.
But this is also a chicken or egg dilemma.
You got to get the jobs to get the kids to stay here. But you got to have the kids to stay here to get the jobs to come in.
And then there is the transportation problem. Milledgeville is centrally located in the state. There are communications, but the roads are too small. However, there is hope.
When the Fall Line Freeway is complete, you'll have a 4-lane road that goes from Augusta all the way to Columbus. I think transportation is becoming less of a problem for the community.
Time will show if the new freeway is enough to attract businesses. GC360 asked students if they would consider staying in Milledgeville if there were jobs. Many would. And residents who moved here the last 10 years are positive too.
Actually, a friend of mine's daughter opened up the t-shirt shop around the corner from here. She went to school here. And so this is even students staying local in this city now.
I see it as an alternative to urban living, and I think that's attractive to a lot of people today.
Ken Farr blames the macroeconomy for the local problems.
You know, if we can get all the pieces of the puzzle, or at least a large majority of the pieces of the puzzle in place, so that when things do begin to improve significantly, we'll be ready to roll.
How those pieces will fit together remains to be seen. Also unknown, what Milledgeville will look like when the puzzle is finished. Reporting for GC360, this is Emil Ellerud.
Diversity Week is in full swing at Georgia College. The week is hosted by GC Coalition and kicked off on Monday with a bake sale, where 10% of proceeds went to a local food pantry. GC360 spoke to the Coalition's communication director, Tashay Dundas.
Diversity Week is a week-long chain of events put on by the GC Coalition to promote awareness of some of the things that were going on in relation to minorities of every kind on campus, like race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, ability. We just wanted to sort of create a more inclusive environment, and a good way to do that is to have events where people can get involved, which is what we're doing.
Diversity Week will conclude on Saturday with a rally on Front Campus, where students will have a chance to voice their opinions on diversity through art and poetry. All are welcome to attend.
Remember being snowed in for 4 days at the beginning of the semester? It was all fun and games then, but what about now? It turns out that some students see lingering effects on their schedules. Reporter Emil Ellerud checked it out.
Could 2 inches of snow and some ice mess up an entire semester? It depends on who you ask. Catherine Evelyn is not buried in homework. The stress from snow days is long gone, although schedules are still disrupted.
All teachers have like a set plan of when they want things due, and when something messes that up, the entire schedule gets messed up. So they were having to basically create a new schedule for us.
Another student who found her schedule remade was Holland Kristen. Her stress is not gone yet.
I don't go home till like 10 or 11 every night, wake up at 6, so yeah, that's what I do.
No, I'm not back on schedule in any of my classes, so it's definitely because of the snow days.
But all classes do not have the same problems as these students. Dr. Alex Blazer said that the second time school shut down was the one bringing trouble. But cutting a reading assignment solved the problem.
And I would say that by the first or the second day, teaching day of March, everything was back to normal.
Dr. Dana Woods is another professor who had planned to be back on schedule by spring break.
That said, we're still not exactly on our calendar, and it's difficult to say whether that's because of the snow days or sometimes topics just take longer to cover.
The situation is unique to each class, but snow days have at least had some effect on how the campus experiences the workload. Reporting for GC360, this is Emil Hellerud.
Georgia College's public relations student-run agency, Spectrum PR, hosted Walk MS in Macon this past Saturday with a great turnout yet again. Students across campus came together to help raise awareness about multiple sclerosis. They participated by walking and raising money in hopes of someday finding a cure. GC360's Kendall Thomason brings us the story.
On Saturday, some walked and others cheered because of people like Meg Bevan who need help.
I was recently diagnosed with MS, and so I understand the importance of MS and having Georgia College help us to expand our walk year after year, and we hope that next year will be even a better walk.
The Walk for MS attracted more than 100 energetic participants to Geico's corporate campus in Macon, Georgia. The Georgia College Spectrum PR team worked all semester long to prepare for this big event to help raise money and awareness for multiple sclerosis.
We have been brought on by the National MS Society to put on Walk MS Macon. The National MS Society raises money for multiple sclerosis to find a cure. There isn't one yet, but that's what we're working for today. They put on walks all over the country. This is the one in Macon, so Spectrum PR has done all aspects of this event, whether it's volunteer registration, walkers, sponsorships, and we are here today to execute the event. We have 100 or so walkers showing up, and we're excited. It's going to be upbeat, and we can't wait.
Andy Hitt was one of many who helped organize the event. The event had face painting, free food, and musical entertainment by WGUR, Georgia College's campus radio station. Georgia College's own Thunder the Bobcat even made an appearance. Crowds cheered on the walkers as they finished each lap, filling the streets with energy and excitement for such a worthy cause.
Today was a lot of fun. It was really great to just get to see a bunch of people who had MS and a bunch of people who gathered together and formed teams to support those who had MS. And I personally have a friend who has it, so it was really cool to have that connection there, but even just to kind of see the community that's built around it.
This year's Walk MS helped raise over $19,000 for multiple sclerosis, and the numbers continue to rise. It was an inspiring morning shared by family and friends that created hope for a world that is one day free of multiple sclerosis. Reporting for GC360, I'm Kendall Thomason.
Last week on GC360, we brought you the update on the new signs for campus buildings here at Georgia College. We'll dig deeper into how the signs were designed and what people think about them. Stay tuned to see what we discovered.
And you will not want to miss this. It's the annual Georgia College Drag Show. Need we say any more? We'll be right back.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child. Give.
Advocate.
Volunteer. Live united. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
You've probably noticed the new bright green signs being installed in front of our campus buildings. GC360 brings you a closer look behind the making of these signs and discovers what students really think of this new campus edition. Hillary Hunnings reports.
Last week, we spoke with students and faculty about Georgia College's new signs. Students commented on the design and questions were raised about funding. Recently, we spoke with Georgia College's architect and director of facilities planning, Michael Rickenbaker, who answered these questions. Georgia College hired Huey Design, an Atlanta-based firm, to design the signs. A committee was formed on campus consisting of students, faculty, and staff that collaborated with the Huey Design firm on the signage design. When Reichenbaker came to Georgia College in 2011, he oversaw the committee. First, he told us about the decision to make new signs.
Well, the signs were part of a major campus-wide signage design. It was actually recommended as a part of the university's master plan in 2005 that the university should at least study the options for a new signage throughout the campus.
Then he talked about the inspiration behind the color scheme and design.
We also chose posts and finials that were very similar to what's been used across the campus for some of our lights. So it's a similar pattern that's used throughout the campus.
Reichenbaker discussed the differences between the old and new signs.
The older signage, if you remember, the brick-piered signage was actually perpendicular, parallel. We changed to perpendicular because it's easier to read.
Then he explained the cost and funding for the signs.
The total for the current signs, including design, is a little under $300,000. And that cost also was the cost for removing the existing signs. The university identifies every year a portion of its budget for projects predominantly for repair and replace or improvements to the campus.
Rickenbaker informed us that the project is still ongoing and there are still signs to be put up. This is Hillary Hunnings reporting for GC360.
Considering a business major at Georgia College, the College of Business created a week full of opportunities dedicated to student success post-grad. Reporter Kyle Shanahan brings us more.
The J. Whitney Bunting School of Business hosted Business Week between March 31st and April 4th. The week-long series of career events had students sitting in with business representatives to learn about their experiences in the professional world. Notable attendees included Rick Crane, former Executive VP for Windstream Communications.
Great leaders invest at least 50% of the time leading themselves.
spend a great deal of time looking in the mirror, challenging their ethics, constantly look at their purpose, their principles, their motivation, and they work on it and practice that.
As with the career fairs previously held on Georgia College, this event offered some advice to business and marketing majors on what to expect in their future careers.
Mr. Crane was an absolutely phenomenal speaker. He took the time to answer all our questions. He provided different leadership quotes. It was an excellent event thrown not just by the Career Center, but also by Student Affairs, Omicron Delta Kappa, the leadership programs. It was definitely a great opportunity to develop my leadership skills, but also gain some insight into what it takes to develop your professionalism and prepare for the private sector and the business world.
Reporting for GC360, this is Kyle Shanahan.
The Georgia College Choral Ensembles performed last Saturday at a concert inspired by the community of Newtown, Connecticut, the scene of a terrible shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary. The concert was titled Echoes of Peace, Visions of Hope. It took place at the First Baptist Church in downtown Milledgeville and brought together over 80 singers from various choral groups around campus. The performance featured world premieres from various composers, including professors from Georgia College's music department. The ensembles also collaborated with Creekside Elementary for their final performance of the night. The piece included lyrics from creative writing students Bree Neves and poems written by the students of Creekside. The music was written by New Zealand composer David Hamilton.
Some people think job one should be saving the environment. This is Earth Week, and there are plenty of events on campus and around town to raise awareness about the plight of our planet. GC's Environmental Science Club is spearheading the event, which began yesterday.
Friday is actual Earth Fest. We'll have face painting, we'll have hemp bracelet making. There's this giant earth ball that people jump on, and that's probably the highlight of the event, honestly, next to the music.
Organizers say there's something for everyone, including a screening of the movie The Call of Life, tonight at 7 p.m. in the A&S Auditorium, a recycled item fashion show on Wednesday, reception at the Farmers Market on Thursday, and live music at the Greenway on Friday. Earth Fest is supported by the Green Fee, and all events are free. For more information, check out the Environmental Science Club's Facebook page. Also, be sure to check out the Students' Green Fee Symposium this Thursday. This event begins with a reception by the fountain at 5:30, where the keynote speaker, Walter Reeves, and panel discussion will begin at 7 p.m. in the A&S Auditorium. When we come back, Nick and Joby dive into sports.
This week, they investigate why students still choose to go to other gyms instead of the newly constructed state-of-the-art wellness center and recreation center. All this and more coming up on GC360.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
When you hear about suffering on this scale, you feel powerless.
But there's hope, because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
Text a donation of $10, but do more than donate. Forward the facts to everyone you know.
Forward from our site.
Forward on Facebook.
And forward on Twitter.
We are the relief.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to GC360. I'm Nick Landon.
And I'm Joby Peoples.
A lot happened over the weekend in Bobcat sports. The number 26 GC women's tennis team finished their regular season on Sunday against 40th ranked Lander University, wrapping up a great spring with a convincing 6-1 win over the Bearcats. The women's tennis team closed out their season with a 16-6 record overall, as well as a 9-4 Peach Belt Conference record. Pretty impressive, ladies.
Absolutely, but this is certainly not the end of the road for the Bobcats, whose men's and women's teams will both be playing in the Peach Belt Tournament this weekend in Florence, South Carolina. The GC softball team faced the University of South Carolina Aiken in PBC Showdown this past Saturday at Satcher Field. The loss takes a toll on the Bobcats and places them at 11-9 in Peach Belt Conference play. However, there is still more to come for this season, including today's game at the Peeler Complex. With that, we wish good luck to all of our Bobcats sports teams this week.
Oh, and how about that Braves game last night against the Philadelphia Phillies?
Impressive.
The only thing better than the Phillies losing is the Braves winning. Now, of course, there is a lot of training involved with getting in shape and looking as good as myself. And luckily, we have a newly constructed state-of-the-art wellness and recreation center here at Georgia College readily available to all students. However, many students are still choosing to go elsewhere and pay for memberships at local gyms. GC360 finds out why.
In October of 2011, Georgia College and State University opened the state-of-the-art Wellness Center on West Campus, an impressive 101,000 square foot gym with all sorts of equipment for GC students to use.
This facility allows us to offer a lot more programming and activities to meet different student needs. Some students want to work out as a group. Some people want to do things on an individual basis, and so the basketball courts, the indoor track, the pool, the climbing wall, all of that has given us a lot more activity spaces and equipment to offer those type services.
But despite all the things the Wellness Center has to offer, several students are still opting to pay for memberships at other, much smaller gyms around Milledgeville. Bodyplex co-owner Adam Shield attributes that to the friendly feel of his gym in comparison to the Wellness Center.
You know, one of the things that we really try to do to create a different, it's a different experience. You know, there it's something where it's not that it's stiff or it's stale or anything like that. It's a beautiful facility. But here we really work hard to try to create a couple different things. We try to have somewhere that you have a lot of variety, so we have a lot of stuff maybe that they don't. It's a situation where we really just have an experience where we've cultivated a fun atmosphere, somewhere people want to be, just like somebody's favorite bar. Why does a bar do better than another bar?
Fun atmosphere or not, the Georgia College Wellness and Recreation Center could fit local gyms Bodyplex and Kinetics inside itself with room to spare. On top of that, students are granted membership in the facility at no extra cost. However, gyms in Milledgeville have been reducing prices constantly to get more student business. When asked what they like most about the Wellness Center, many Georgia College students
and much more budget conscious now than we ever were before to really try to make it more affordable for kids.
With a fee included in Georgia College tuition aptly named the Wellness Center fee, students are admitted to the Wellness Center for the low price of $175 a semester. This fee, while more expensive than your average gym membership, is unavoidable. But the on-campus gym is still dressed to the nines in great features and offers several first-rate amenities.
We offer over 20 classes a week. We do have an aquafit class that takes place here in the pool 2 days a week. And then with the courts, that allows groups of people to come in and play 3-on-3 or 5-on-5, and not just basketball, but volleyball, dodgeball. We have the indoor multi-purpose court, which allows for indoor soccer and indoor roller hockey as well.
The Wellness Center fee isn't going away. And while other local gyms may feel homier than the massive jumbo gym at Georgia College, you probably aren't already paying for those gyms. But both the Wellness Center and other gyms around town have their perks, so the choice of where you like to work out is ultimately yours.
When we come back, we'll bring you the highlights and take you backstage at the rescheduled homecoming concert, GC Jam Fest 2014.
That's right, and also coming up in entertainment is the recap on the Georgia College Drag Show, which had the crowd going wild. You guys really don't want to miss this.
So don't change the channel. We'll be right back with more GC360 News.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hey, Georgia College! I'm Jerry Osborne with everything you need to know about entertainment. After many weeks of anticipation, GC Jam Fest finally took place last Wednesday night in Centennial Center. Originally planned among the other homecoming festivities back in February, GC Jam Fest was postponed due to all the snowy weather. I went inside the event to see which performers shook the house. And
Wednesday, 4
backstage
bands
for a live
performed
interview
at Georgia
with
College's
Seven
Jam Fest, whereas last year's Battle of the Bands winner, The Haze, opened up the show for headlining artists Travis Porter and Ben Rector. Led by Georgia College student Maddie Davis, The Haze also performed at Sounds of the South just last week. They warmed up the growing crowd for one of Milledgeville's favorite rising bands, Seven Handle Circus. Who we were able to go behind the scenes with before the show and find out just where they got their crazy name from.
So it's kind of like a whiskey drinking reference, handle of whiskey, 7 days a week. Yes, sir, right. Which makes it sound like alcoholics, but I don't know, we came up with it in college.
The band contributes their unique sound to the wide variety of artists that inspired their music.
Man, I think one thing that's really cool about our band is the kind of the breadth of inspiration that we take from. We grew up playing a lot of classical music in our youth, and then got into more rock and roll, and we had our punk bands in our high school days. Yeah, in our youth and in school and stuff, we grew up in classical music. And then we got into our teenage days. We started getting into punk rock and roll.
And when asked if there was anything else they'd like to add, they had a few words to pass on to the fellow Bobcats.
The Bobcats are going to have a great season this year. Peach Belt Conference, excited, going undefeated.
Well, it certainly was quite the show. Georgia College hosted a drag show performance last Thursday in Russell Auditorium to raise money for charity. Thankfully, GC360's own Carolina Classens was there to get in on the action.
Last Thursday in the Russell Auditorium, Georgia College's Pride Alliance hosted their annual drag show. The performances consisted of dancing, singing, slam poetry, and comedy skits. We met up with one of the hosts to talk about this year's drag show charity work.
This drag show is benefiting Lost and Found. It's an Atlanta-based charity that helps homeless LGBT youth find permanent homes and trains them in interview skills and gets them health care. It's a really great cause that helps dozens and dozens of kids.
We asked City Council member and one of the hosts of the show, Walter Reynolds, what he thought about his first ever drag show and the performances.
It was definitely a worthwhile experience, I have to say. This really was a show in every sense of the word. It was quite entertaining, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of it.
We also asked how he thinks the community feels about such an event and what direction this takes Milledgeville.
Well, I feel like Milledgeville is really a very open and inviting community. I think it's wonderful that we have such a vibrant and thriving LGBTQ community here, and I'm just happy to be a part of this and see that this is an ongoing performance in the community, and I'll be happy to come back and support it again next year.
Jay Marlin was a performer during the show and shared ideas with us about the Pride Alliance.
I'm really happy with the LGBT Pride Alliance at Georgia College because I feel like it helps raise awareness about the different sexualities on the spectrum, so otherwise people will just be like, well, what's that? And we can educate others and just let people know, hey, these things actually exist. We're here, we're proud.
This has been Carolina Classens for GC360.
Well, that's all the time I've got for you this week, guys. I'm Jerry Osborne, and be sure to check back in with me next week for all of your entertainment news. Back to you, Taylor and Justin.
Well, that's a wrap for us this week on GC360 News. I'm Taylor Weldon.
And I'm Justin Peacock. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget those taxes in. We'll see you next week.